Left Santa Cruz de la Palma in the Canary Islands and sailed south for 6 days to reach the port of Mindelo in the Cape Verde Islands. This is part of Africa off the coast of Senegal, and it looked as exotic as it sounds. What do you think, Helen?
Exciting. Yeah, it's weird when you don't know what to expect.
I know, it's always a bit nervous, isn't it?
Yeah. Finding the marina and getting into a spot and things is always nerve-wracking. Yeah, getting better.
Show us how you do it, Helen. Very good. Well done. All right, we're in the Mindelo and on our way to the immigration office. Yeah. Look after your fish. Ciao vive. What is that? That's kind of Creole. The Domino Shacks. Alright, here we go. We're off. Transatlantic.
Exciting.
Next stop, Rodney Bay, St. Lucia. Helen, how far do we have to go?
2,138 nautical miles.
Do you mean 2,138 nautical miles to go?
Oh boy.
2,138 nautical miles to go. We're cooking prosciutto and peas.
Prosciutto and peas, boat
A
style.
classic Helen Russell dish from the kitchen
Opportunity.
of Mama Carter, with
Marmalade,
the
bechamel.
best invention
Yeah.
this side of the Atlantic.
Bechamel in the pot.
Pasta, prosciutto, peas,
Give it a stir and let it.
little Parmesan cheese, little salt and pepper, and away you go.
Ooh. Okay, just let that sit and peas cook. We're ready to go.
All right. Alright, sunset on our first day out from Mindelo on our transatlantic, and the wind died as we knew it would. I think we're still in the wind shadow of the big island, and there's just not any wind, so we're not going to worry about it. We left this morning, bought fuel, and had a couple of little hiccups. I overfilled the main fuel tank, trying to stuff another 10 liters in, so I took the fuel sensor off so I could see down in the tank, and it looked like it had plenty of room, and then all of a sudden a big bubble came down the pipe and it overflowed, not significantly, but enough to make a little mess. But I think it's fairly well contained and cleaned up, probably about 500 milliliters. And then right after that, the lifeline gate came off in my hand when I was locking it back after we left the fuel dock. So fortunately it came off right in my hand, and I screwed it back on. So yeah, that was weird. So we went around and checked all that. But yeah, it's been a little rolly tonight. Didn't catch any fish. Tried a couple of different lures, and we'll try again tomorrow. Oh, and we had the amazing dolphin pod. The water was super clear, smooth as glass. There were about 8 of them at the bow, swimming back and forth for half an hour, and got some great footage underwater and above the water. So that was cool. Yeah, highlight of the day. Highlight of the whole trip so far. So that's it for now. And night watch is approaching. We'll just be motoring. I don't think we're going to bother with even trying the sails. If there's not 10 knots or 12 knots of wind when it's rolling like this, it's just no point. So that's okay. We're expecting that. Over and out. 2,000 miles to go, give or take. That's to the top north end of St. Lucia. We're ghosting along. Got the code 0 up. The wind's at a good angle, about 130, and up to 12 or 13, and then down to 7 or 8. But it's keeping our RPMs down on the engine, saving some fuel. Difference between 0.6 and 0.8 gallons an hour, and we're not going quite as fast as we would if we were motoring at 1800 RPMs. We're motoring at 1600, so but 20% fuel savings. So that's cool. Yeah, 5.8, 5.9. All we need is a steady 13 knots of wind, and we would be sailing. So it'll come a few days from now. Till then, doing some chores, taking care of business, trying to catch some fish. Only thing biting is the sargassum weed.
Not much action here.
Oh, pretty boring day. made English muffins. Another beautiful sunset. End of day 2, our transatlantic voyage, and the end of the second day of motoring. We tried to sail a couple of times, and it seems like every time I put the sail up, the wind gods decided, we're not really going to blow. So we took them down because they were just kind of not even flogging, just floating. Did a lot of fishing and caught nothing except sargassum seaweed. And what else? We made water this morning, and so that means we were running the generator and the engine at the same time, which is really noisy. And discovered a little corrosion on the sensor of tank number 1, which I think comes from putting chlorinated water occasionally in that tank, even though we're real careful about it. So not going to do that anymore. And what else did we do? Not much. Read books, played card games on the computer, napped, gonna cook some Scottish mackerel for dinner. Trying to clean out the freezer a bit. And while we can still cook before if it gets rough, it's hard to cook. We have pre-made meals for that. That's about it. Pretty boring, which is just fine. Boring is good. Made 134 miles in our first day and should do about the same in the second day. Weather report is no wind really until Saturday. So tomorrow is Friday. So at least another full day and probably another half day of motoring. We've got plenty of fuel, and it feels like there's a good current with us. So we're making 5.5, 5.8 knots at 1,800, 1,700 RPMs. So all good, and check in again tomorrow. Zucchini and tomatoes, boiled potatoes, and pan-fried Scottish mackerel, hand-caught by the chef. So I've just done my calculations of the first fuel tank being used up, which is about 44 gallons, and we went 290 miles, 57 hours, so about 5.08 nautical miles per hour, about 6.5 miles per gallon, or 0.77 gallons per hour. So all in all, pretty good fuel economy, nice calm conditions. Got a little bit of current with us most of the time. Not today. Today we've had a little bit of counter current, and the wind has been at our back, very light. Hopefully tomorrow, Saturday, it's going to pick up, and we will get sailing soon. I don't want to burn up all my fuel in case we have light winds at the end of the trip. Alright, it's day 3 of our transatlantic voyage cooking show. Because that's like the only thing we do is eat,
Discuss what we're going to have.
discuss what we're going to have snacks.
Yeah.
What are you making?
We got stir-fry chicken.
Yes,
with,
indeed.
Black bean and garlic sauce.
Okay, with green pepper,
Red pepper.
red pepper,
Red.
bell pepper,
Yep.
onion. Okay,
Yep.
hold standby.
Yep. Oh, there we go. Turn
Cooking
that
the
down.
rice on the electric while it's nice and calm, and we got the motor on. Okay. What's that sound? The sound of silence. The engine room blower's still on, but we've turned the engine off after 72 hours of motoring. And 50 gallons of fuel, a little more than 50 gallons. And now we've got both head sails up, code 0 and Genoa pulled out. 12 knots of wind. Our destination. Nicely making way. So on our boat, with the pole, we use a foreguy and an after guy and a topping lift. Right? If I can point to it. Foreguy, after guy, topping lift, and that stabilizes the pole so it just can stay in position without the sail out. And then the sheet comes through the jaw and back. So we can furl the sail should need arise without having to mess with the pole, without having to take the pole down, which is a very good thing. Once we were advised we don't need an after guy, but then the sheet broke and the boom, the pole went slamming up into the forestay, which was not a fun thing to deal with. In fact, it was just about our potentially most catastrophic problem ever at sea. So that happened in the Bahamas a long time ago. We learned a good lesson. Don't always take advice, even from an expert. And we've got the code 0, which is quite large, 88 square meters, and not really intended for dead downwind sailing. Got it held out at a more open angle through a block on the end of the main boom. And so that's quite simple. We prevent the main boom out with the sheet, topping lift, and preventer. So it minimizes that kind of flapping, which happens in the roll. Doesn't completely eliminate it, but better than nothing. Sunset on the 4th day? Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, yeah. Had some wind today. Currently making nearly 6 knots, a little more than 6 knots sometimes, and about 14 to 15. And everything is copacetic. Hope the wind stays like this all night. Heading southwest down to 13 north by 34 west. About another 150 miles to that point, at which time we think the wind will shift and we'll be ready to head straight on a rum line to St. Lucia.
We have a fish?
I think I got a fish. He's off to the side there. Yep.
Definitely. Oh, you can't see yet.
I saw him jump one time.
Yeah. So where's the gap? Is it in your fishing bag?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
a hook, and then we put it on the end of this.
Okay, well, I'll...
What we got.
Yeah. See weed. Oh,
There he is.
yeah, it's
Mahi.
mahi.
Not too big. That's good. Probably don't need the gas. jumped off. I didn't keep the tension on it.
Yeah.
Damn it. That's the end of day 5, or evening of day 5. I had the motor starting about 2 a.m. last night and just completely died. And we motored till about noon today, and we've moved the sails, switched the sails, have the code 0 now on the port side and the pulled out Genoa on the starboard side, because we have turned the boat more to the west and toward the Caribbean. Trying to get there instead of keeping southwest, we're going less southwest, west southwest, I guess. There's a sailboat about 5 miles in front of us and to the south, which is kind of interesting. Just showed up a while ago. They're going a bit slower than we are, so we'll probably overtake them. Maybe we'll call them on the radio later on. What did we do today? I caught a fish, and then he got off the hook. So that was exciting and then disappointing. But I guess it wasn't his day today. Live to fight another day. I just caught this beautiful little mahi here on day 6 off a hand reel with a little chugging squid. Just happened to be out here. Beautiful little thing. Second one I've caught, and we caught a wahoo earlier today. So pretty good, and several other little fish and a tuna, which I lost. So quite a fertile ground here. Thank you, God, for providing this fish. Neptune, whoever. This is the nature of things. We appreciate you so much. Is this a fish or is this just weed? What's this weed?
Just weed. Big stuff. Okay, camera off.
Cruising along, got some good wind today. Day 6, Monday the 12th, and been making 6.5 to 7 knots most of the day after it kicked in this morning, so that's welcome. And caught a bunch of fish today. Caught a little wahoo, we kept, and then caught a nice little tuna, which got off the hook, and then caught several little foot-long gray things that quite meaty looking, but didn't know what they were, so we let them go. And then just this evening I caught a good little wahoo. No, good little mahi. So put him in the freezer. Gonna have wahoo fillets for dinner. And yeah, good day. Day 7, Tuesday. Just sitting in the cockpit, watching the waves go by. Hooked a fish. I think he was a big one. He was hiding under a mat of sargassum weed. And he just about spooled the reel there. And then it must have either came loose or pulled out, as we're going about 7 knots, so with the sails we can't really slow down as easily. So anyway, might not be the best day for fishing. A little bit choppy, confused seas. I think there's waves from 3 directions or 4 directions. happening right now. It's Christmas time. Decorate. Helacious. That was some waves. We might want to think about closing that hatch.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Very nice. We're downloading the weather for the evening here on the evening of the day 7. 1,299 miles to go to St. Lucia, and making some good time. Did 171 miles noon to noon, and yeah, that's the end of our green melon, which has been really good. Some chili for dinner.
Yep. Tasty.
And ready for night watch. Lovely Christmas lights, decorations. Hopefully you're not going to have Christmas at sea. Yeah, very festive looking on board. Ripping along through the darkness.
Argentina's in the finals.
Argentina wins. There's no way that Croatia was going to beat Argentina. All right, stay tuned. The wind had dropped and the seas had calmed, and I was at the mast changing the sails when the Penn Senator reel began spooling out madly. It was a large bull mahi, and conditions were perfect if I would reel it in.
Yes, don't you worry about the line. You do the boat hook. You need 2 hands for that. Here. I'll hold that. Hang on. Right, watch, we're going to get... Still on the line, Brian. Get this from the tail. Around the tail, I'll put the other end, and then at least we'll have 2 places. Good, done.
The hook on the side there.
I will. That's what I'm just trying to do.
Wow. What a magnificent creature. Just, yeah.
Happy man?
Whoa. A little sad.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
now what? So this is some of today's catch. A very large 1.18 meter mahi-mahi. Biggest fish I've ever caught. Day 9. 993 miles to go. bright and sunny. This is the tanker Sea Navigator, about half a mile away from us, and we are just out here in the middle of the ocean. And he appears on the AIS, and it looks like at that point when he appeared, we were almost on a collision course. So I called him on the radio and said, "Would you mind taking our stern?" And he said, "No problem, sir." And so there he is, empty tanker going back to fill up somewhere, Middle East or somewhere. Well, after a mostly mellow day, the wind has picked up again into the low 20s, and we are scooting along, making 7 knots plus, which is what we need. Gonna get us there Tuesday night. That's what we're hoping. Or maybe Wednesday morning. Or maybe even Tuesday afternoon. But we are making tracks right now. This is kind of the nice time when you're going fast but the seas haven't built up. A little sunshine this afternoon. Beautiful. About 800 miles left to go. Friday afternoon, winds are lightish. 15 to 18. We're going 5.5 to 6 knots. Maine and Genoa. Keep thinking about putting up the code 0, but every time I do, the wind picks up a little bit. And the winds are supposed to pick up later on, so probably not worth it. Anyway, yeah, we're doing good. It's a big time Friday night here on Sailing Vessel Helacious.
Oh, Christmas lights.
Oh yeah, I'll turn the Christmas lights on. Oh, very nice.
Oh,
Oh, they went out.
little short circuit.
Oh yeah, okay.
They warm up.
Saturday afternoon, live from the mid-Atlantic. Just put a reef in the main, anticipating some mid to upper 20s tonight, and an increased swell from the northwest. Hoping to make landfall on Thursday. Possibly Wednesday night. We've got about 700 miles to go, and making about 150 a day. So we're doing well. Wind's been pretty steady. These alternate between pretty big, but not too big, and like it is now, which is actually pretty calm. That's why I came up here to reef. Check everything out, which I like to do every day, and look at the sunset, and so yeah, everything's good. Made focaccia bread for this evening and having a chicken stew. Man, it was salty up there on the deck. I've taken that reef, knocked about 3/4 of a knot off our speed at the moment, but once the wind really picks up, we'll be at hull speed, so it won't matter. but it'll make it more comfortable. Helen approves, right?
I do, yes. Much more comfortable ride.
Yeah, especially at day 10 when we get tired.
Yeah, well, overnight it's always much worse
Yeah,
when the winds are high.
it's one thing if you're on a 4-day passage or 3-day passage
Yeah.
where you know you've got a place to rest, but we still got four days to go, and so you start to get weary. The seas are a bit angrier this morning. Night of 27, 28 knots. And then awakened at 6 with crash, and Helen tells me that the whisker pole has decided to disappear. So apparently it collapsed itself. It's a telescoping pole, and something has gone wrong with the rope pulley system that telescopes it, holds it in tension, and man, we've got that swell now from the north. It's going to last about 24 hours. And so anyway, we rescued the pole, got it up here. In the fully retracted position, a reefed Genoa, which is probably what we should have done in the first place. And maybe now I know what that little clunking sound that I kept hearing for the last 2 days was, and I could not identify. So that may have been it. Could be a bit of hardware inside the pole that's broken. Wasn't anything that I built. Anyway, gotta put up with this nasty sea for a day. I see some squalls behind us. And, I don't see any squalls. No squalls ahead of us. So anyway, all's good. About I think they said it was, PredictWind said it was supposed to be about 11-foot seas today, which I believe. It's starting to get up there, and a few breakers, rollers. There's one. Never looks so big on the camera, does it? Well, we're up there. You can tell we're elevated. It's like being on a hill. Choke down some breakfast. A brief little rain shower there. Not enough to wash the salt off, and that's enough to dissolve it and make it sticky again. Anyway, nice and cool. I wouldn't call it a squall, just a shower. Wind direction changed to the north a little bit, but not too bad. So we're running with it.
Yes, we've got one squall to the south of us,
Right.
and we've got one behind us. And so the wind's going all over the place.
Right, wind is swinging
Yeah.
60 degrees. So we're kind of beam onto the seas here, trying to keep the wind in the sail.
Ugh.
So,
Hopefully not for long.
yeah, probably till midnight, probably. It's about 2 o'clock, 2:30 now. It's all right. Everything that's shaken loose has already fallen out. I had cheese and crackers for
2
lunch.
minutes left. It's the World Cup.
Right.
3-3. 2 minutes left in the game. Getting updates from Jake. Day 14. We are 207 miles from St. Lucia, and making some time now after a pretty slow start to the day. Lots of squalls last night. Had to take some sails down, and now we've got the code 0 up. And there's a squall coming through. So, watching the wind pick up in the mid-20s now. Code 0 is so kind of delicate. You don't want it to get too much wind in it, so we got to be real careful. I am standing out here getting wet, and a lot of thunderheads around. Not as squally as it was yesterday evening. So hopefully it will be an easier night. That's it for now. Chili for dinner. James Bond on TV. Yeehaw. Over and out. 200 miles to go. 200 miles to go. 200 miles to go, and we'll be there tomorrow. Or the next morning. But looking good. Making good time now. Survived that little squall. Yep. 11, 12, 13.
Well, it's day 15 of our Atlantic crossing to St. Lucia, and we are 60 miles from Rodney Bay and about 54 miles from land. Still can't see any land, and probably won't before the sun goes down, but we might see the glow from the island. It's really clear today, and looks like hopefully the squalls have left the area for now. Cruising along with the code 0 at the front, and that's it. Trying to keep our line just on the edge of being able to sail this tack. So the sail's flapping a bit. Yep. 15 days is plenty of time to be on the boat. And Helen wanted to go on to Panama, but I said no, we need to stop for Christmas, so we're going to stop in St. Lucia.
Well, it's been a good day today after a rough night last night. Lots of wind and shifts and yeah, it's a disturbed night. But overall, a good passage. Nothing too exciting, and with the way we like it. So check in later as we get closer, or in the morning, when hopefully we will be anchored at Rodney Bay. Over and out. We're exactly 50 miles from our anchorage at St. Lucia, and a little birdie just came and had a rest in the cockpit. Put some water out for him. I don't know if he'll find it. Maybe that's all he needed. Oh, he's still fluttering around out there. We are on our final approach to St. Lucia. Please fasten your seat belts. Bring your chairs to an upright position. We have 26 miles to go, and things are looking good. Do a little tacking, and now we are on our way, hopefully, if the wind holds and doesn't shift again. So should get into Rodney Bay about 1 a.m. You can see some of the glow from Martinique and St. Lucia off in the distance. So that's a good sign. We've gotten nearby. Charts haven't misled us. Amazing GPS navigation. Just amazing. We are motoring into Rodney Bay in St. Lucia at night, about 1:30 in the morning. A little bit weird. Some mega yachts parked out here. There's a mega yacht dead ahead. You see that? Yeah. Don't run into them. Trying to find us a parking spot for the night. Lots of wind this morning here in Rodney Bay, and we're about to pull into the Rodney Bay Marina and do our pre-Christmas provisioning, because Christmas is in 2 days and we have guests arriving, so we got to clean up, get some food, and wash the boat, wash ourselves, and prepare for the next leg. So good passage, and 15 days we are 5,070 miles on the water from Oban, Scotland, when we started our trek south. So back in September 13th. Sailing in the Caribbean. Gotta love those trade winds. We're heading down from Rodney Bay to Soufriere Bay. We're going to pick up a mooring, we hope, should be able to, and pick up Jake here on Christmas Eve 2022.